That'd be awesome. I'd definitely do that. That'd be cool. We're not.
No, we're not.
We're not. $7.67. But just because you're not winning doesn't mean you can't suggest. You just don't get a chance to vote. So if I could dye the beard, I would, but it's too short and it's a different type of hair, so it would damage his skin underneath. Yeah, which is no good. This is the moneymaker right here. So you need another $1.61 times 28 people. What's 161 times 28? That's how much you need. I'm not either. That's why I'm asking you. So to take a look real quick, so you see that it's up there. So if you've got ideas about how I'm going to shave this next Monday, yes, Ken, you rock. We're almost there. Take a look. There's a spot right here, and I'll keep it up there all week. To click here and submit your suggestions. It's just a super quick Google form. What period are you in? What cohort? Nice, my man. Killing it. I know. Because one kid came back after being gone for 3 weeks. He's like, really? Nobody's donated anything yet? Here you go. Here's $1. But the spot that I like on this is that if you can find a photo of your idea, you should be able to upload that photo. So you can see some of these suggestions so far. I'll show you what's up there already in terms of the pictures. Like sideburns right to the mustache. What's up, Zach? Oh my God. You guys are killing it. Load it up. So I feel like I'd be like a Civil War general if I rocked that one. Right?
Oh my God, no. I think it's
Batman. That might be tough because I don't have this spot. I don't have that spot. And like it's not like he's got like super thick hair and it's dark, right? So I like it. I really like it. Tough to see, but spiral. So it goes down one side and then just curls back up and then everything else is shaved. It's like a sideways question mark. I actually even thought of a question mark like mustache to chin and then like a dot at the bottom. I thought that'd be kind of crazy. I thought that last night when I saw that. What else? The word beard. That's really hard to do. Yeah, I don't know that would actually work out, so I might scrap that one. Let's see. It might be too tough. That is, yeah, that. I don't know if they'd let me in school if I showed up like that. That's gonna be, but you know what? They're all options, man. Anything goes within reason. So take the next couple of days if you've got a good ideas, even today while we're working in class, we can do that. And that's what I want to talk about is what I want to do today. So like Thursday or Friday, I sent out some practice. It was homework 1.6C, but I didn't have it yet in class on Wednesday. So I wrote it up and I sent out the link, but you didn't have the hard copy. So if you didn't get a chance to do it, or even if you did and you have it handwritten and you would prefer to have the hard copy, I'm cool with giving it to you now, going over it, and then if you haven't submitted it yet, you can submit it today. I'm cool with that. Because what's really important is that using this, you can do what's next. Okay? We do. Okay? But we have...
That's what you do to get put in your beard.
Gross. Does anybody want the hard copy? This is just a hard copy of the last thing. Let me just give it to you in case you want one. If you already did it, that's cool. I have. You don't want it. Okay. And so if you have it, take it out. If you have the work from, I think it was like technically due last night. That's fine. You can look at it too. There's no secrets. There's no secrets. Yeah, but so So I know the word got out that we have like this practice quiz, quote unquote, today. Sorry, Ken. But it's not, and that's what today is. Today is help. Okay, today is not like close notes and be quiet and take this quiz. Here's why I'm calling it a quiz. Because if I keep putting stuff in the homework and classwork category, it all gets watered down. And it's not going to make as big a dent in your grade as I'd like to right now. I want to give you a chance to increase your grade. Shush. Because here's the thing. Effort, completion, that's what matters most. Lastly is correctness. Lastly is correctness. And we can fix it and we can work on it. And we have today in class. Now, I know tomorrow, most of us, if not everybody, we're taking that PSAT. So tomorrow, we're off. Fine. And so if you don't get this done today, it doesn't have to be done tonight. It doesn't have to be done tomorrow. You can work on it Friday as well. And so I'll have those optional office hours in the afternoon if you guys want to stop by and work through the stuff together. Yeah. I don't know. I think it kind of depends from class to class. I mean, listen, the PSAT is like 2.5 hours long. That's it.
That's cap. I heard someone said it was 4.
It shouldn't be quite that long. I would say it should be done in 3 hours, but so here's what we're going to do. Can I say something first and then you can ask? Okay. So, because I want to give you a chance to work. Stop talking, please. What I want to be able to do is take this homework 1.6c and go over it. Which means like, I'm going to pull up the solutions right now. And if you, like, the worst possible thing you could do right now is to copy down the answers. Because then at least you have good work down. Because what you're going to see on the quiz that I'm about to give you in like 5 or 10 minutes, call it a quiz, it's really not. I just wanted to put it in the quiz category so I can give you a bump. It's out of 20 points, and there's 22 possible points on there. So there's wiggle room to get a good grade. And I'm going to help you. It's all good. What's up?
So you want us to turn it into here?
No, take it home. There's a spot on Canvas if you need it. If you get it done today, great. If you don't, that's fine. But Friday, yeah. And
Is the PSAT optional?
you can show up tomorrow or not if that's what you want to. But so 8 o'clock, the doors close to your classroom where you're taking your test, and those rosters are downstairs in the English hall. So if you're not sure where you're supposed to be tomorrow, check today. It's not going to take you more than a few hours. So you're going to show up here no later than 7:40 to that class. Is what they suggest, because the doors close at 8. Like you show up at 8:01, the doors are locked, and you don't get to take it. I know. But it's just practice. It's just good to be in that kind of zone. And this is the only year where the school is paying for it. You get to take this test for free, which last year you would have had to pay for. So, and you're going to take the SAT in the spring. So this is your only chance to really practice the SAT. Yeah. Yeah, you take the SAT your junior. Okay. So here we go. If the worst thing you do right now is jot this work down, then you can use it as a guide on the quiz, because you're going to see there's 3 questions here. There are 6 problems on the quiz. There are 2 like number 1, there are 2 like number 2, and there are 2 like number 3.
Okay, so it's just like, can we use our notes on the quiz?
Of course, absolutely. And you can use me. Like I'm calling it a quiz. It's not really. But it is. I just want to give you a higher grade today than you had yesterday. But the idea is we're building towards something bigger. We're building towards a larger quiz or even a test that's going to count for a lot more. So this is just an opportunity to, number 1, get some practice in. But number 2, to care if you're getting it right. But look, the answers are there. And they're always going to be there for me when we do systems. Okay, I'm always going to tell you what the right answer is because I don't care about the answer. I care about the process. And so I want to talk about each one of these and give you an idea on how to solve them depending on how they start. Exactly. If you have both of them set to y equals or both of them set to x equals, then you can just set them equal to each other. But what you're really doing is you're just taking like one of the y equals and putting it in for the other one. Sorry, plus 9, yeah. Right? And so what you see with my first line of work is really I've like rewritten the bottom equation, but instead of y, I took the 4x minus 3 from the first one. And the thing about solving systems is they're not going to give you one equation with one variable. They're going to give you two equations with two. And to solve for one of those variables, you need to create your own first equation. To do that, we just substitute. And once I have this first equation, this 4x minus 3, because I just took this and I dropped it in, now I only have x's in the problem, and I'm just going to go solve for it. But I can't solve for x if there's two of them. And if I've got two of them, I got to put them together. But I cannot put them together if they're on opposite sides of the equal sign. So what I need to do is take this one on the right and move it to the left. And when you're sliding stuff around, like not necessarily solving for anything, but just kind of reorganizing your equation so it looks the way you want, when you're switching sides, just switch the sign of whatever you've got. So I've got a negative 2x, so when I move it from the right to the left, I'm just going to make it positive. Really, I'm just going to add 2x to both sides so that they cancel. Because now I've got 4x plus 2x, and I can just call that 6x. And I just slide myself down. I bring down the negative 3, bring down the equals, bring down the 9. And I look at this equation, 6x minus 3 equals 9, and it's like August 28th in this class, right? Here's a simple algebraic setup with one x, just go get it, right? Take care of addition, subtraction first, then multiplication and division, and you'll have your answer. No exponents, no square roots, no nothing like that we have to worry about because they're just linear. Okay, we'll build up to bigger and badder stuff soon. But once I get myself to like here, right, 6x minus 3 equals 9, just solve it. But you can only solve for x first and then y, or vice versa, depending on what the setup is. But once you get it, once you figure out what x is, stop, pause, and look at the answer. And make sure you get it right. Right? It's the point where these two lines run into each other. And so if I can figure out the x value and check to make sure it's right, then me solving for y, I feel a lot better about whatever answer I'm going to get. And if that's me solving for y next, you just like I kind of just like split my work apart, and I say, all right, I did half, like my first column of work, solve for x or y, whatever I was solving for. And then to solve for the other one, I'm solving for y. Let me pick a y equals kind of equation. And I got both of them to be y equals, so it doesn't matter if you pick the top one or pick the bottom one. I just happen to pick the top one. Drop in the answer that you got from the first one and see what you get. So I dropped in 2 for x, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 minus 3 is 5. So x was 2 and y was 5. I didn't circle this. I didn't box in this. This is the answer. And I want to see you write it yourself. Not just me writing the solution for you. Pretend that solution's not there. You need to write that final answer written as a point, x, y. But if it's already y equals and y equals, just set them equal to each other. Slide the x from the right over to the left, put them together, and start solving. Doesn't get much easier than that kind of setup. Questions about that first one? Because the first two problems on the quiz are y equals and y equals. So you should be able to just kind of use this one as your guide. And I'm going to leave this up too. Once we go through all three, I'm just going to back out so you can see the whole thing, and you can use it as a guide in case you don't get it all down right now. Okay? All right, number 2. Number 2 is just one step trickier because you don't have two different equations, both set to y equals or x equals. You've only got one of them. But that's enough. To do substitution, I just need one of these things set to y equals because if I've got one, that's all I need and I can use it, right? I can say, all right, you know what? I know what y is. It's 2x plus 7. If I'm finding the point where they meet, then that y and this y right here are going to be the same number once I eventually solve for it. So I can treat them as equals. And you can see that that arrow is kind of pointing up to that top equation. That's the one I'm going to rewrite. The one where I want to drop the 2x plus 7 in for y. So you see, like I start kind of rewriting this top equation. Okay, 2x, cool, minus, awesome, 3, good. But as soon as I get to that y, the parentheses show up, and in goes the 2x plus 7 instead. Because then that first line of my work there, of course, the equals and the minus 5 come down with it. That that line of work there has only x's, which means I can solve. And whether you solve for x or y just depends on whether you have x or y equals to start, but whatever you've got, just use it. Now, I don't have x's on both sides. They're already on the same side. So I don't have to move anything around, but I can't combine something outside the parentheses with something inside. I've got the 2x out in front, and I've got the 2x on the inside. It just happens to be the same number. It's a coincidence. But I can't put them together yet until I break out that 2x from inside. And so the whole point in me using the parentheses is to remind ourselves that whatever that number is in front has to get distributed in. And remember, the sign in front of the number is the one we want to keep track of. It's a -3 that I'm going to multiply in. So I take the -3 and multiply by the 2x. Cool, -6x. The -3 times the +7. Cool, -21. And now that I've kind of broken myself out of that equal the parentheses, now my x's are already on the same side, and I can put them together. 2x minus 6x, great, -4x. And the thing that I got to make sure you don't do is this. That's wrong. Because when we add stuff to the left like that, like look where your equal sign is. Your equal sign's here, right? You just added 12x to the left and nothing to the right. And now that balance that you had is off because you just added 12x to the side and you didn't do anything to the right. So don't make that mistake. If things are on the same side, just put them together. 2x minus 6x, 2 minus 6 is -4, and I'll throw an x on the front. And I get myself to here, and it's just like we got ourselves to that same spot in number 1. You just solve it. Add 21, divide by -4. You get an x value, and you check it. And you say, nice, -4 was that x value that I was looking for. I feel pretty good. I'm done with my x. I split my work apart, and I find a y. And if I'm solving for y, I better pick the equation that's already y equals. Plug it in, see what you get. So those two really aren't bad because the equations are ready to go. But with something like number 3, they're not. The equation for number 3, the setup for number 3 is just not ready for us to solve for one or the other yet, because when you look at the two equations that were given, neither of them are x equals or y. There are 2 number 1s, there are 2 number 2s, and there are 2 number 3s. Okay? So we want to be able to kind of be comfortable with even this level where we just don't have what we want yet. But if we don't have it, we just make it. And so if I'm trying to get to the point where I can pick an x or pick a y in one of those first 2 equations that's boxed in blue right now, I want to pick the one that's easiest to go get, to try to turn one of them into x equals or into y equals. And since like an x equals or a y equals equation to start with, right, just has y by itself and it's got no number attached to it, that's what I'm looking for in these 2 equations. I'm looking for an x that's already positive, or looking for a y that's already positive, and it doesn't have a number in front. Because that's going to be the easiest one to go solve for. So when I look at, all right, the top equation, 5x, nope, 4y, nope. Bottom equation, -3y, no. But that x right there, by itself, because there's no number and it's already positive. And so that's the equation that I'm going to start messing with. I'm going to take this bottom one and say, you know what? I'm just going to rearrange it. I'm going to rewrite it so it looks the way I want. I'm not solving for anything necessarily. I'm just going to make it look the way I want. I want this x by itself on the left-hand side, so I just need to take what's on the same side and move it over. And when we switch sides, we switch signs. And so really what I'm going to do is make that -3y that was on the left, I'm going to slide it to the right, and I'm going to make it positive. In other words, I'm going to add 3y to the left and add 3y to the right, because then they'll cancel. Now, the only thing I have left on the left is x, which is great, but the right-hand side, if I look at kind of like what I set up, is 8 plus 3y. Now, that's not 11y, because if it was, it would have had to have been 8y plus 3y. Like if I want to combine things together, they better both have that variable. But one of these has a y and the other one doesn't, which is fine. It's just the way that it is. So the only way to write 8 plus 3y is to write 8 plus 3y and just leave them separate right next to each other. But now that I've got one of those so this is kind of like my side work that I do at the beginning. I'm going to take this. Now, like this, to me, this equation is gone. I don't want it. It's no good. It wasn't good to me to start with. I rewrote it. And so in my mind, these are the two equations I've got. The first top one here and then this one. Because now I can take what x is equal to, and I can drop it in this case, for x. Right? Take that top equation, change the x to 8 plus 3y, distribute the 5, combine like terms, start solving. So you take a setup like with problem number 3, and you make it look like number 2. Because we know how to solve equations that look like number 2 from this homework. We just take what the y was equal to or the x was equal to, and we drop it back into the other one. Rewrite it, solve for what you got, split your work apart. And then if I'm going to solve for y first, I better check the y value, right? The order is going to matter how you write that point. So I'm checking the second one. Good, -2. And if I'm solving for x for the next one, and I have a choice between dropping in -2 like right here for y, and then having to solve for x, or picking this equation that's already set to x equals, that's the easiest one to do. You're solving for x, plug it in to an equation that's already x equals. Okay, so number 3, it just takes a little bit of kind of like prep work at the beginning to change one of your equations and make it look the way you want. I know I kind of went through that fast, but does that make sense? And I just want to give you today, like this last half hour or so, to see if you can knock this thing out. Now, you don't have to get it done today. Okay, not even close. You have today, you got tomorrow. If you really needed Friday, I'm cool with that. I am more worried not about you getting the right answer, but having a process that you trust to solve these kind of problems, that you understand how to do. And even if you just use these 3 as like a good guide for you. Like I'm going to back out, leave these up. And if you just start recognizing structure and say, all right, this looks like a number 1, this looks like a number 2, this looks like a number 3, and you kind of use that style, that approach to go solve for it, then you should be in pretty decent shape. Okay, so I'm going to back out to here. I'm going to take off all of this markings. I'm going to zoom in as much as I can so you can see all the work. It's about as close as I can get. So I know it's still a little small, but you've got it in front of you and you've got me. But I want to do this first question together because it's kind of sneaky hidden at the top. Number 1, right? What type of answer are we looking for? If you've got these 2 lines, that's because that's what we've got, right? We've got these 2 lines graphed in space. And we know these answers like 2, 5, -1, -4, -1, 2, -2. What are those answers? Like, let's do this first one right now. What type of answer are we expecting when we solve a system? Like, what is that point 2, 5, that point -4, -1? What is that spot that we're looking for? What is, like for number 1, 2, 5, what does that represent when you've got some line over here and some line over here getting graphed at the same time? The point where they meet, their point of intersection. So at the top, in that tiny little space above question 2, below the number 1, what type of answer are we expecting when we solve a system of equations? The point, x, y, and write it as a point. The point, x, y, of intersection. The point where they meet. The point where they cross. I don't care how you say it, but tell me it's the point, x, y, where they run into each other. Those are the point values for each of those questions. Okay, so all the way on the right edge, you're going to see some numbers in brackets, 2, and then 5, and then 4, and then 4, and then, I don't know, whatever. That's how many points each of the questions is worth. And so you're going to see that at the beginning, the questions are worth more. Because I want you to get the first ones right first, and I want those to count more for you. Now, this is out of 20 points, and there are 22 possible points on here. Again, so you've got a little bit of wiggle room. You've got some chances to make mistakes. And if you don't finish the last one, you could still get a 20 out of 20. Okay? But we're building to a point where you need to do this on your own. So I'd really like today for you to try to do as much of this as you can with your notes, but without me and without the people around you. But if you get stuck and you're not sure what to do, That's what today is for, is to get you over that first hurdle of getting it set up correctly, or like, how do I distribute properly, or can I combine like terms yet, or whatever it is, so that, I don't know, like next week sometime, we can do something that's worth a little bit more, and then a little bit more. And then we can stop, like do it like one last time and move on, right? Because we do this thing for weeks, it loses its appeal a little bit, and we just kind of get sick of them. So I want everybody to get to the point where you've got it, where you're comfortable, where you've got the plan, you've got a good strategy on how to get these solved. You can get the answers because there they are, sitting right there at the right edge. Get them right. Feel good about it. Let's get some good grades going in the grade book, because some of us kind of need that right now. A little boost would be really, really helpful. And we'll get ourselves back to some grades we're proud of. Okay, so take today. I'm going to stop talking to everybody. But if you need me, you need to call me over. Okay, I'm going to come check on you a little bit, but if I don't hear from you, I think you're feeling pretty good about all this, and I trust you. So talk to me if you need me. Try as much as you can on your own, but get this done. Focus up. You've got 20 minutes, 20 plus minutes. Do as much as you can today. If you need tomorrow, you need Friday to finish it up, that's cool. There's a spot on Canvas for it. Just the same title as what's on there, Quiz 1.6a. Sweet. All right, time is yours. I'll come check on you in a minute, but if you need me, just call me. Answers are right here if you need to look back at them. Okay, so questions 2 and 3 like number 1. 4 and 5 like number 2. 6 and 7 like number 3. And if you didn't get 1.6c submitted on Canvas, but you have it now, then make sure you do that. Make sure you take today and get that done, so because I can give you a grade for that too. Hi, Emma. What's up?
I'm not really understanding. I don't know if it's because of the S.
Okay. I like your setup though, but the thing that you've done, like from here to here, is instead of like replacing the X with the 2, you wrote them next to each other. The idea is to make the X disappear and change it to the number that we got as our answer from here. So this is perfect start, but just like do that instead. Like lose the X. Call it really just 2 plus 1. What's 2 plus 1?
3.
There you go. You find that last answer. So you want to like pick one of those equations, which you did, and you picked a good one because the numbers are small, pretty easy, and it's already y equals. But drop in the number for X and make the X disappear. Yeah.
And it's still be times 2, right?
So when you pick this equation, like there's nothing attached to that X. Like it wasn't like 2X or 4X, nothing like that. So when you substitute in 2 into that spot, it's really just 2 plus 1. Yeah. And so parentheses are okay, but in this case, and really this is probably the only one where it's not really going to be necessary because there's nothing else attached to that X. It was just X. And then, 2 plus 1 is just 2. But if there was like a 2X or a 4X or negative 3X, yeah, you need the parentheses to remember to multiply. Yeah. Talk to me.
Okay, so I took an equal to.
Love it.
So then I took away the X's. I don't know.
What do you mean? You took away the X's?
No, I didn't take away the X's. I took the 1.
Okay, so you slid the 1 over. Cool. It doesn't matter what order you do it in. Like you start moving the numbers to the right or the X's to the left. You can do it in whatever order you want. But now that you did kind of isolate the X by itself on this side, because you slid the number over, it's time to get these X's together with that one. You want to get to the point where you only have one single X in the whole problem. And so if you have x's on both sides, if you decide, hold on, before you decided to move your numbers to the right,
I guess.
right? You slid the plus one over.
Yeah.
So then you better make the conscious choice. If you're bringing your numbers to the right, you better bring your x's to the left. I want to move my x's onto one side and my numbers onto the other. No, you can just don't put a minus x under here. Don't move this x to the right because then you have nothing left. Take this negative 2x, do the opposite to get it over here. What's the opposite of subtracting 2x? There you go.
So, like,
Yeah.
oh, equals 6.
Yeah.
Oh, 6.
And then what's x equal to?
Okay.
Right? And there you go.
Thanks.
Now we've got an x. Let's use it.
So if I did both of them,
Huh?
so which I do.
Either one's fine. I like the top one. I think it's still here. Oh, I set the booby trap. Got him. Got him. I got somebody third period too. I think it was third period. I didn't mean to. I just like put my water behind somebody, and he just kind of like reached back, right? He just like stretched out. I got the same person. He like jumped out of his chair too, and neither of them were intentional. So my bad. But gotta watch out. I got booby traps all over the place. Miss Harris, let's do it. All right, so slow your roll. Slow down, because you're flying, aren't you? Right? All right, talk to me. Where we at?
Okay, so I sent it in, and then I put it all together.
Okay.
And when I,
So you took the x minus 7 and you dropped it in for the y right there, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So you're like rewriting this bottom one. Nice. 3x plus 2 and then times that equals 6. Okay.
Yeah.
So you brought down 3x, and then this 2's got to go in.
Yeah. It wouldn't.
So what's 2 times x?
Oh, that's the
There it is.
Okay.
And it's usually just something small like that. It's not usually a big thing that screws us up.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, I did 2 plus x instead of 2 times x right there.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Talk to me, Shave. I'm coming over. I read upside down. I'm a teacher. You're good. I want you to be able to see it. Okay, so the idea with something like number 1 is you've got the perfect setup, right? You set them equal to each other, you're good to go. But now that I've got this equation set up, I've got this one spot where I can just solve some equation. And all I want to do, like you see I have x's on both sides, I want to get them together because I want to just end up with like x equals whatever, some number, right? And so if I've got x's on both sides, before I start moving like numbers from either side, I want to get my x's together first. And so I like to always end up with my x's on the left. So I'm going to take this negative 2x, it's on the right, and I want to switch sides. And so when I slide something together, the whole negative 2x, when I slide that whole thing over, when I switch sides, I got to switch signs. So it started as negative 2x. I better make it positive. And so you can just slide it over and make it positive, or you can kind of do like I did, and it's the same kind of setup here. I just added 2x to the right and added 2x to the left so that they'll cancel. And so do that. Do that first. Add 2x to both sides. Because then the 2x's will cancel on the right, and let's just add straight down. And so I got x plus 2x. So let's lose that kind of second line of work that you had started before. Not that it was bad, but it's just kind of it's like getting you kind of confused. So we kind of want to have a good plan. But it's not just adding 2, you're adding 2x. Like I want to take the whole thing so that I can get rid of all. So add 2x to the right, let's add 2x to the left. And so x's with x's, 2x plus the original x. But you've got x plus 2x. The only way to change exponents is to multiply or to do bigger powers. I've got 1x and I want to add 2 of them. I've got 1 pen, I'm going to add 2 pens. How many pens do I have total? 3. So 3x, not 2x. So change that 2 right there to a 3. But it still has the x attached to it. Cool. So now we're good there. So the plus 1 is still good because when I move, like when I do one thing, I just kind of like work straight down. I just rewrite the equation. And if I didn't touch the +1 or the +7, just bring those down with you. So 3x plus 1 equals, and the only thing left now is the 7. Right? I don't need the 2x's because we kind of slid those over. Now you've got an equation that only has x's on one side. Now it's start time to move all of the numbers away. There you go. No, because you want to move the numbers from the left to the right. So I like you subtracting 1 there. Good. Good. Now I still have that 3. I just got to break that apart now. But the 3 and the x are connected by multiplication. Good. And there it is. All right, there's the x value of 2. So we're halfway there. But now that I've got that x, now I want to use it. I want to go back into either one of these two equations. You just pick whichever one you want and drop in the 2 and see what you get. But like one of the 2 original ones. Exactly. So, and you pick like, so, but it's still like, you just have y equals 2 plus 1. What's 2 plus 1? And there's your answer. Okay. Just like that. But I want to see you do that. Like I want to see you write like y equals, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I just want to pick one of them that's already white. Either one. Absolutely. Guaranteed. Because it's the point where they meet. So it's the only point that you give me a 3 for x, or a 2 for x, that I'll get a 3 back for y. It doesn't matter which one you pick. You just pick whichever one you want. So whatever is easier, really. Smaller numbers, less negatives, like whatever looks easier for you. I just want to pick one that's y equals. So there's a spot on Canvas. Take a picture of the front, picture of the back. And that goes for 1.6C homework too. There's a spot on Canvas for the homework, and there's a spot on Canvas for this, calling it a quiz. Not really. I'm going to be real generous in my grading. Effort and completion is what's going to get you close to an A, if not the A itself. I want to see it all. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I want to see to make sure that like this for me is like a benchmark. Like, how are you doing so far? Do you get it yet, or do you don't? And if you don't get it yet, then we'll just redo it. I don't get you a good grade. I'm cool with that. But I want to like figure out like how much do you really know right now? If you have a guide, you have me to work with, can you do it? Because if you can't do it yet, then we've got some work ahead of us to get you to that point. Nice, because I gave you x, so you make sure you plug it in for x. Good. Yeah. Yeah. So PSAT goes all the way through Algebra 2. So it'll have basic algebra stuff. It'll have some geometry stuff. It'll probably have a little basic trig on it, like SOHCAHTOA and special right triangles. I marked you Darty and then changed it.
Oh, well, my mom was talking to your mom that I was after.
Tardy. Look. Here. Zach. Tardy, buddy. What's messed up?
I don't understand. You like this?
I do like that. That is. It's called a dot plot.
Can I go to Spanish? No. I already did all my homework. So then I go.
Please go.
Don't go.
Listen, if Amber says to do one thing, you should probably do the opposite.
I told myself to get on a bike and I did, and I lived.
Good for you.
I know.
I'm happy for you. I'm glad you're alive.
I thought I was gonna have to call her down. My dad's gonna I'm being like a sexy.
Just whatever happens in your life, Amber, just wake up the next morning. Whatever happens in your life, wake up the next morning. Okay, lowest possible bar to set. I mean, there's a ton. I can always email you stuff. So it depends on how you want to see it taught. Like, because I could show you videos, or I could like send you to websites where they like write through problems. So I don't know. Khan Academy is great. So if you just go to Khan Academy and you search whatever we're doing, systems of equations, boom, that whole unit will show up where he kind of starts with like basic examples work through. There's practice problems right on there. Khan Academy is great. YouTube is great. There's a couple math websites that I think do a really good job of like explaining it. This one's my favorite. Yeah. Purplemath.com. I don't know why it's called purplemath.com, but it's my favorite one for not videos, but like written explanations, because they talk about it like you would be talking to like another person. It's not like super technical in math. I mean, it can be the further up you go, but that's a good one. And then She Loves Math.com is another good one too. But obviously Khan Academy is great. YouTube is great. Khan with an H Academy. I think it might be .org. This is nice because it does have that. It's got like interactive modules that allow you to do that. And yeah, and of course YouTube's always good for this stuff like that. Yeah. Which one? 2 or 3? So you set them equal. You slid the 2x over. But that's okay. But you fixed it, right? And you saw that you were doing something wrong because you looked at the answer like, oh, I messed something up. Let me find it. So that kind of self-awareness is good.
-10. I got -20, and then I got like -19.
I got you. Right.
That's because I put this minus that. So I got -1x.
Oh, okay. Right. Good. So that's right. And then you add the 10 over, so you get the 20, divide by -5, and so you get -4. You drop that back into the top one. Cool. -3 times -4, positive 12. 12 minus 10. Perfect. I love it. Now, the thing about number 4 is that you don't have both of them to be y equals. And so when you think about trying to use like one equation to make the other one like solvable, I guess you could say, you want to pick the one that's already y equals, right? That was the good one for us. So I want to use the x minus 7. But when I drop that x minus 7 into the other equation, it's not just going to take over like one side of the equal sign, because I would need like a whole y equals to do that, right? You've got what y is equal to, right? For you, x minus 7, so this one's 2x, whatever it is, right? I want to take that and drop it in to the other equation for y. Like I want to make the y disappear. Like, look. But the 2 is still there because I can only change y. Because all I've got is y, right? And so look at my setup here, like 2x, negative, 3, 3. But instead of y, parentheses, 2x plus 7. Right, whatever I had from the other equation, I drop that in plus, right, you bring down everything from that bottom equation, and then like still the 2, right, because the 2 is and the y are separate, but wait, hold on, right there, you see how you wrote y? Lose the y, and instead put the parentheses x minus 7. Now, and keep going, but I got to finish this equation. So you did the y, now you got the equal sign and the 6. So put like equals 6, because you're basically like rewriting that bottom equation. Now, I want to be able to put the x's together. Now, they're already on the same side, so that's good, but one of them's on the outside and one's stuck on the inside. Can't do that yet because it's stuck inside. Can't do that yet because the 2 is attached to this. Can't do it yet. You have to get rid of the parentheses. And the only way to make parentheses disappear if you've got a number out in front is to take whatever that number is and distribute it in by multiplying it through everything. So like that 2 is going to get multiplied into the x and into the -7. No, because that's on the other side of the equal sign. So just what goes inside the parentheses. So you bring down a 3x. You bring down, well, now it's 2 times x, good, so plus 2x, and then 2 times -7, good. And there's, now look, your x's are already on the same side. So you don't have to move them around, just put them together, good, 5x. Bring down everything else. Now you've got an equation to solve, go solve. Then you get x, plug that back in for y, and to plug it into y, pick the top equation because it's already y. Ladies, how we doing? That's my girl.
So on here,
Mm-hmm.
can I distribute it with a y and an x?
And so that's the thing that we want to try to make a little bit simpler for us. Like if you have y's and x's in one equation, you're never going to be able to solve for one or the other. When you choose to say, all right, you know what, x minus 7 is what I want to drop in, you drop it in like for y. Like you make the y disappear, and instead you put x minus 7. You don't want to have both. You want to like bring down the 3x, the plus, the 2 for sure, but as soon as you get to the y, you stop. You drop the parentheses. So let's get rid of that y that's in between. And really all we're going to do is multiply the 2 into the x and the 2 into the negative 7. So we'll do that first. So bring down the 3x, and then 2 times x. Cool. And then 2 times negative 7. X's are already on the same side, so all we have to do is put them together. 3x plus 2x, good. Bring down everything else. Now it's like day 2 of this class, and you just solve it. Same thing for number 5 on the back. And then for number 6, good. Solve for y, solve for x, and then use it. I like it. Emma, how are we doing?
I kind of got lost.
Okay.
Like right here, it's kind of.
So that looks good, but the thing that's probably messing with you is that like your x's ended up on the right, maybe, instead of like ending up on the left where we kind of like it. Maybe that's what it was. Because usually we like x equals our answer. Like I kind of like it in that order. So when you made the choice to start moving these x's onto one side, you made the choice to slide this negative 3x over because you probably like positive numbers. I'm totally with you. I like that too. But that might not be what we want because we end up with something that we just don't like the way it looks. So instead of adding 3x to the right, maybe take this positive 2x, let's do the opposite to get it over to the left, and we'll just deal with the negative, but at least it's in an order that we like.
Okay.
So you might want to back up a step. I like your initial setup, it's perfect. So like erase that line, erase your plus 3x's, and instead of adding 3x from the left to the right, let's subtract 2x from the right to the left. That'll get your x's at least onto the left side. Then you can start moving your numbers to the right. How are we doing, fellas? You doing all right? Okay, show me.
So, right here, I did like 3 plus.
I think it's just it's 6 plus 14, that's all.
Oh, yeah.
It's not 21, it's just 20. And that's what, like, you got a weird, like, decimal, you're like, that can't be right. So, good, good. Everything else looks good, though. Okay, so you get to here.
I also have a question about this. So,
Oh, let's start with that, yeah.
like x plus 1, so is this right so far? So x plus 1 and then plus the
So-
2x, or did I do that wrong?
Absolutely no. So x plus 2x, definitely 3x. And I like the idea of adding 2x to both sides because it'll make it disappear from the right. But when you did the x plus 2x, you're only putting those two together because x's go with x's, numbers go with numbers. You just forgot that you had a plus 1, and that's got to come down with you and still be like 3x plus 1. Yes, you're still going to have to move that 1 over. Then you can divide by 3, and your number should work out nice. How are we doing with that?
Dude, I'm just confused. I need help.
Okay.
So,
I'm listening. So if you have both of them set to y equals, about as easy as it gets, because what we can do is just set them equal to each other. I can take the right side of one equation and the right side of the other and just make one equation, put an equal sign in between them. Now I've got x's on both sides, so I'll move them together by doing the opposite and then solve for that one. That'll give me the x, I'll plug that back in and solve for y. And so number 2 and number 3 are just like number 1. So I don't know if you want to like take a picture. I don't know if you copied. Okay. I'm just saying, like, if you've got this, you can use it as potentially a guide to help you figure out like what to do next. But like I'm around tomorrow, I'm around Friday, so if you want to work on some stuff, we can work on some stuff. How'd you do? You got it? Okay, good. Oh.
Maybe you lost it on the plane.
Aw.
Playboy.
What is it? Silver? Gold? Something like that? Okay. I'll see.